Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about how to get out of a makeup rut. I wish so badly that I could say that my makeup ruts are few and far between. That is not the case. In fact, I have a lot of makeup ruts. I have times where I feel so uninspired, and sometimes this feeling lasts for a morning or an afternoon. Sometimes it lasts for days on end. And I definitely feel like a lot of people can relate to being in a makeup rut. And sometimes you just have to wait for it to blow over, but then other times you're like, what can I do to make sure that I can get my inspiration back? What can I do to make sure that I'm excited about makeup again? And I'm going to be giving you guys six tips in this video that have really worked for me, that have really made me cycle back to being inspired by makeup again, being inspired to do makeup again faster. This is definitely coming from a YouTuber creator's perspective because so much of my channel is intertwined with my makeup creativity, and whenever I'm in a rut, I always feel like my channel can be affected, and I don't like that feeling. So a lot of these tips are going to work brilliantly for you if you're a YouTube creator, which a lot of you guys are. I know this because I watch a lot of your channels, and I will say that a lot of these tips, however, can apply to somebody who is not a YouTube creator as well, because these tips work for pretty much everybody. The first tip that I have is don't pressure yourself to get inspired again. It will come back to you. I feel like when you really love makeup and when you love doing makeup looks and when you love creating with it, you are always doing it. And a lot of times we're not used to not having that like ready arsenal of inspiration in our brain to always keep creating. So when we are in a makeup rut, when we feel bored by it, when we don't know what look to do, or we just don't know how to get creative again, it's a scary feeling and you want to get out of it as fast as possible. So you want to almost put pressure on yourself to get inspired again. You want to get that feeling again. But the key thing, I think, whenever you're in creator burnout or whenever you're in a makeup rut is to just accept that this is just a part of your brain needing to take a break from a certain thing, and that your inspiration will come back to you. Your love of makeup will come back to you stronger than ever. You just have to just accept that this is just something that happens, and you don't need to pressure yourself so much to get back to being inspired, because chances are it'll backfire on you, because the brain doesn't really respond well to pressure, doesn't it? Don't pressure yourself, it will backfire. The next tip that I have is to declutter your YouTube or Instagram feed. This sounds really harsh, but just go through your subscriptions, go through who you're following, and unfollow the people that you are no longer inspired by. It's a hard truth, but it's just a fact of social media that we sometimes are really just obsessed with watching somebody, really into somebody's video for a shorter period of time than others. I know for a fact that I used to watch a lot of like really great creators that really inspired me, say, 3 or 4 years ago, but now I look back at those creators and I don't feel that same inspiration. A lot of what we see on the internet, a lot of what we see on social media affects the way we perceive the art of makeup. So if you are following a bunch of people who are not inspiring you anymore, who are not where you want to be in your makeup style, who in some cases are completely different from what you want your makeup style to be, sometimes it can lead to you being in a creator or in a makeup rut. I definitely do feel that my biggest makeup rut was when I was sick and tired of doing neutral makeup all the time, and I didn't necessarily know how to make makeup exciting for me again. This is like something that happened to me like I think over a year ago, and I was such like in this big makeup rut because I had been doing neutral makeup looks over and over again, and I was uninspired by it. I was sick and tired of it, and I was watching everybody who was doing like the full glam makeup looks that were super neutral, and I didn't know what to do with myself until I started watching people who were doing colorful makeup, and I was like, wait, you can do colorful makeup, which sounds stupid now, but like keep in mind, I wasn't watching anybody who was doing colorful makeup. And then like over a year ago when I started watching people like Angelica Nyqvist, she was my first one, or Make Up Your Mind, who were doing like really beautiful colorful makeup looks, I was so inspired and I started to love makeup again. And it really helped me to unfollow the people that were doing like the neutral full glam makeup looks, because while I was inspired by their content before, after I had like my sort of shift in style, I realized that I was much more excited and much more inspired by the people that were doing colorful makeup, and that's what really stuck with me. So it doesn't really have to be that drastic, but just going through your feed, going through your subscription, and just unsubscribing or unfollowing people that you no longer can relate to or that you no longer feel inspired by is a great way to sort of weed out the people that do not inspire you, so you can be left with people that really inspire you and really fuel you to keep on creating. At the same time, I would highly encourage you to always look for new and interesting people to follow. Look for people who are a little bit out there in terms of their makeup style, who you haven't necessarily seen before. Just always be open to finding new people. Instagram, in my mind, has become a great place to do this, because I'm always looking at the accounts that Instagram suggests to me, and yes, sometimes I'm not interested, but other times I'm like, wow, I love this page. Let me like 10 photos and then follow this person because they make amazing content, and I'm always inspired that way. Just do a little bit of a declutter, but then add some people, discover some people that can really fuel you and can really re-inspire you. This is a small one, but this is the one that I think is really, really important. Do a palette bingo. Palette bingo has been something that has been really popular in like the micro influencer part of YouTube. A lot of people are doing palette bingos like all the time. I myself have only done a few, not a ton, but I really do like seeing a whole bunch of other creators do palette bingos. Palette bingos are a great way for you to look at your eyeshadow palette in like a new and interesting way. You basically randomly pick eyeshadow palette colors, and what's really nice about palette bingos is that you are pairing colors that are randomly selected, so chances are you haven't really paired those colors in that way before. So it's a really interesting and I would say quick way to quickly re-inspire yourself to create something just really pretty. The next thing is a little bit counterintuitive to that, but it is to lay off makeup for a little while. I definitely think this is a great tip specifically for you if you are a YouTube creator, because for me, I do find that a lot of times being in a makeup rut, or like having a little mini rut as I like to call it, is intertwined with feeling YouTube burnout. And since my channel is so makeup focused, whenever I feel like I'm in a rut makeup wise, I feel like it's hand in hand with being uninspired by my YouTube channel. So I would definitely say that pre-filming helps a ton in the situation. I love pre-filming. In so many videos I talk about how I pre-film. It helps me out so much. I definitely feel like when I've been in a makeup rut or when I felt burnout, it's just a really good idea sometimes to lay off of it, just go back to doing like something else in my life, go back to working on something else that I really just value in my personal life, create something different, just be a little bit creative in another way. It really helps me to not think about makeup for a while, whether it be a weekend or just like a few days, because I know that after those few days, I'll come back feeling recharged and ready to get creative again. Sometimes you can work on trying to re-inspire yourself, but other times it just works just as well to lay off of it, take a step back so you can recharge and come back stronger. I wasn't sure whether or not I should include this, but this definitely is like a way to re-inspire yourself. I wrote, buy a little something to get you inspired again. Oh my gosh, this is not something that you should do a lot, just saying. I'm not trying to say that you should always buy something every time you feel uninspired, because that's ridiculous. You should be using what you have and buying for the pleasure of it, not because you like feel like you need to buy something, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. I, however, do think that every now and then, not a lot of times, but every now and then, it does help to buy a new lipstick or buy a new face product or buy an eyeshadow palette whenever you feel uninspired, because having that new product in your collection that you potentially could really love does help with the inspiration juices to get them flowing. It sounds so weird, but like seriously, I always did feel that like whenever I would buy an eyeshadow palette, I'd always be like re-inspired again, because you have that new color store, you have new formulas, you have different finishes that you can work with, and yes, it is a way to get you inspired again. Would I recommend doing it all the time? Every time you feel like burnout or every time you're in a makeup rut? No. But it is an opportunity for you to get inspired again. If you're trying to treat yourself and get inspired, it's an opportunity to buy some new makeup. Moving on though, let's talk about the next one. Get out of your makeup comfort zone. Learn a few techniques, view some creators, go artsy fartsy with your makeup. Look for inspiration everywhere. You never know where it might find you. Now, I think that this goes back to what I was saying about decluttering your subscription feed, decluttering who you're following. A lot of times it just really helps to find some new things to get inspired by, and also to look for inspiration everywhere you go. I think I might do another video on exactly what inspires me, what I get really inspired by personally, because there are just so many things that really just fuel my imagination and make me want to create. But something that is really important and something that always helps me get out of my makeup rut is to just look for inspiration everywhere I can. I'm not talking about just the internet, that is a possibility, but I think that it's important to just look at our real life. Look around you at this beautiful world and see the things in your daily life and see how they can inspire you. This is something that you have to condition yourself to do. And I'm very happy that after trying really hard, I was able to really condition myself to literally look for inspiration and find it in my everyday life. But once you just look at the small things, once you look at the way the sky looks that day, or once you look at the way the grass is like just uneven in certain places, you know, like even animals, like if you have pets, like just look at their eyes, like look at their, like the way their fur is, like just see all the different like splashes of color that you can just see in them. If you have a snake, like just how does the light hit its scales? How do the scales look? How do the colors come together? If you have a loved one, like what is their eye color? Do they have like a particular hair color that you have always noticed but never actually looked at? When you have breakfast in the morning and you're getting that cereal out, what are the colors on the cereal box? How do they come together? Do they look good to you? Do they look bad to you? Why? Look at fruit. I mean, I could go on and on forever, but yeah, it sounds cheesy, but look for inspiration in your daily life, and it doesn't have to be makeup related. I would say that if you're in a makeup rut, it would help to look for inspiration beyond just makeup. Look for inspiration in your everyday things. Look for inspiration from areas that you would never look for inspiration from, and see how they can inspire you. And yes, you have to condition yourself to do this, and yes, it takes practice, but really, like, it's amazing to look at the world and see so much inspiration from it. However, back to this same point, I would definitely say that getting out of your makeup comfort zone is a great way to get inspired again. Look at makeup artists like just on the internet. Look at makeup artists like at your local beauty counter. Like what are they doing? What techniques are they using? Look at the faces of people you pass on the street. What kind of makeup techniques are they using? Are they doing like a different bright lip that you've never done before? Try to learn some new techniques. Have you ever been able to master a winged liner? No? Then try and do it over and over again and try and see if you can actually do it. There are just so many different ways you can look at makeup and expand what you see makeup as. There's so many different ways you can practice and build upon what you already know, and at the same time learn new and just absolutely interesting things. I really started loving makeup much more when I realized just how limitless it was. It doesn't have to be the same old technique. It doesn't have to be the same old type of look. You don't have to follow any rules. There are no rules. And when it comes to inspiration, you can be inspired by anything, and that's like the wonderful thing. That's just sorry, I'm just getting like I'm getting all stuttery now. But makeup is just limitless. And yes, you can get into a makeup rut, but chances are you'll get out of it. And I do hope that this video helped you find some ways to get out of one. There are just so many different possibilities when it comes to makeup, and yes, sometimes you feel super overwhelmed or underwhelmed by it, but there are ways to get out of it. And I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was useful to you. Thank you for watching till the end. I do hope that you enjoyed this video and found it useful, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye guys.